We begin this evening with a developing story. A bus transporting roughly 15 students overturned in the vicinity of Gordontown, St. Andrew earlier today. The students have since been transported to the Accident and Emergency Unit at the University Hospital of the West Indies. CVM News understands that Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon is currently at the facility. Joining us now with an update is Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Senator Marlon Morgan. Mr. Morgan?
Hi, good evening, Nico.
Same to you. Well, what details?
Say good evening to the viewers. I'm joining you and the viewers this evening under less than auspicious circumstances. Early this afternoon, news came through of this most, unfortunate development. Thankfully, so far, we have had no report of any loss of life. I gather that serious injury has been sustained by some of the students. Others have, bruises. There were those who sustained burn injuries in terms of water from the radiator, hot water from the radiator. But this just serves to underscore that even while we make our best efforts to use the roads in a safe way, covering our children in particular with prayer as they make their way out to school daily is of critical importance. And so we're grateful that the developments coming through so far are of such that we have not had any instance of the worst happening. So we continue to keep our fingers crossed. The minister is at the hospital at present. I am now also at the University Hospital of the West Indies. I would imagine that so soon as more details become available, the media will be duly apprised as to what the latest developments are.
You'd imagine many Jamaicans are asking us if it was one of the school buses, of the rural school buses.
Yeah. All right. So just to be clear, this was a 15-seater highest bus, privately operated, a PPV that was operated by a private operator, essentially. So this was not one of the government-operated and commissioned rural school buses. But whether it was one of the rural school buses or not, as I said earlier,
yes,
this development this afternoon underscores, the importance of, safe road usage, because there are considerable hazards across the length and breadth of the road network in the country. And each of us as drivers have to seek to use the road in as safe a manner as possible and as responsible a manner as possible. And of course, we know that despite the best efforts of government in terms of policy, in terms of employing persons to abide by speed limits and so on, that you still will have, unfortunate developments ensuing from time to time. And so that is why I invoked earlier in this conversation the critical importance of
blood coverage, as Jamaicans would say.
We are a God-fearing nation, and so we seek to hold up our children in particular in prayer as they make their way to and from school, and just all of us generally, because we can't take it for granted that whenever we go out, we have an appointment to get back home. This one is particularly close to home because this accident or this incident involving the students concern a school where my wife serves as the principal. And so we just arrived at the University Hospital of the West Indies as this principal at one of the schools, Louis Bennett Coverley Primary. She is attending upon the space, accident and emergency. As I said before, the portfolio minister is already on location. I too am now here, so yes, we'll be able to get a better indication as to precisely what the state of the condition of the children are. Many of them, I gather, are now receiving treatment. Some, as I said earlier,
how many are actually hospitalized?
Injuries.
Yes, but how many
some
are hospitalized?
Have suffered. Those details are not yet clear. So soon as I'm in a position to advise more definitively on that, I will do so.
How were the parents notified, Senator?
Well, as you can appreciate, there are, information and communication technologies at our disposal. My wife happened to have been on a board meeting with one of the public bodies here in Jamaica. When news came through to her, she received a phone call. A number of parents received phone calls. Though those communities tend to be close-knitted, and so whenever development such as that, which transpired early this afternoon, ensued, many parents proceeded to contact other parents, even on their respective WhatsApp group as parents. Those messages came through, and so some parents, as you'd imagine, would have been at work at the time. Many of them would have since had to leave their place of work to, present themselves at hospital, to the extent that their child or ward had been identified as being one of those affected in terms of being a passenger on that bus. So some of the schools in question are the St. Martin, the poorest primary school, and as I said earlier, the Louis Bennett Coverley Primary School. So this one is particularly close to home.
Yes.
We continue to keep our fingers crossed and trust that, though some of them are suffering serious injuries, that medical, they will respond appropriately to medical treatment, and we will be spared the worst in terms of worst case scenario.
We gather there was also another incident in the rural St. Andrew area of Newcastle involving a woman who is now feared dead and 5 occupants of her vehicle. And any updates on that? Yeah,
I gather there was an accident earlier this afternoon where a female motorist, I believe her vehicle plunged over a precipice, I'm told, and she suffered, she has demised. The responders were struggling to remove her, I'm advised, from that unit. The authorities, I trust, would be making contact with her family. Obviously, very tough circumstances, because they will be receiving the news this evening that nobody really wants to have transmitted to them. But we will hold up that family. No doubt she's someone who, would have had stakeholders, and so we spare a thought for them this evening. And as a nation, collectively, we express our sincere condolences to that particular family, and we keep them up in our thoughts and prayers over the period of their bereavement, indeed.
All right, thank you so much. That was Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Senator Marlon Morgan.